If you want to navigate your life, you need pattern recognition so you don't go in reaction. One thing is to understand seasons are a great pattern. They freed us. There's the seasons to your life. You should think about this season. What's this season about for you? What do you want to extract from this season? Every season has predictable challenges and predictable opportunities. And where am I in the seasons? You could say 0 to 21 is springtime. How hard is it for something to grow in springtime? If you start a business in an economic spring where everybody's optimistic, you think you're a genius, you're just in the right season. So 0 to 21, you're taken care of. And that season, you grow like crazy. Somewhere around roughly, and everyone's different, 21, 22 years old, you go to the next stage, 22 to 42, and that's your summertime. That's the testing period of your life. What happens? You are 21, you've heard all this stuff, and now you go, you know what? I don't know if I believe this bullshit. I want to see what I believe. I'm going to test. All history, all studies of psychology show this is the most difficult time in most people's lives, 22 to 42. So if you're in that range and you're listening, I love you. Hang in there. This is your ground. If you keep growing, this is a great time. Somewhere in that range, you make this transition. Somewhere around 30, 35, you're 33, you just got engaged. Congratulations. You start to move towards a family. You start to have those experiences. I'm sure yours will be very successful. Many aren't. 43 to 63, that's the fall. If you planted in the spring and you worked your tail off during that hot summer, now you can do more with your pinky than working around the clock. More people, you have relationships, you recognize the patterns, you know what's going on. Nothing's really a shock or surprise to you. You're more strategic, you're more efficient, you're more elegant, you have more choices. You've learned a lot of lessons if you grew. Now, if you didn't plant in the spring and work hard in the summer, you're going to weep in the fall, not reap in the fall. So now this is your power period. This is when most people earn the most money in their life if they're going to grow because they've accumulated knowledge, skills, relationships, and so forth. And then the winter comes back to that 64 to 84 to 104 to the oldest humans, 124. That period is a transition period to where you become a real leader because you're no longer at 22 to 42. You're trying to prove yourself to yourself or maybe other people or both. But there's a point when you get into your power group, you know who you are. By the time you get into this last season, this 64 to 84, 104, 124, you know who you are. And you want people to like what you do, but if they don't, you know who you are. You don't give a shit. I've just entered that season myself. I'm about to be 66 in a few weeks. And it's the most fulfilling season of all. It's mind-boggling. I wouldn't believe that when I was your age. That's why I'm sharing. If you're healthy, if you're fit, if you're strong. If you don't do that, then it can be a bitch that time. But if you're healthy and strong, you have 40-year relationships, 35-year business relationships. You have friends that adore you and love them, and it's unbreakable. It's unshakable. You have an intimate relationship or a family or husband and wife relationship if you've built to that point that is beyond anything you could have dreamed of or hoped for. You wake up every day and you know that life is a gift and you want to give back even more. You're more driven than you were when you were in the 22 to 42 stage. Those are the seasons. There's one more. There's seasons of history. And your season of history shapes how you shape your life. So you can look at 1,000 years of Roman history and 500 years of Anglo-American history, and you start to see patterns. In fact, I'd recommend for everyone, there's a book called Generations. It shows how history is somewhat predictable and why the cycles are generated by different generations, how we react to the way we grew up. Some people go through their springtime during a war or wintertime. Some people go through their springtime in a fall. We all grew up with different environments. And so we're shaped by that. And that's why history's changed.